EduTech Guys present a conversation from our live coverage of FETC in Orlando, Florida on Wednesday, January 24th, 2018. Enjoy the program.
Brian Friedlander, and a professor of education at the College St. Elizabeth in New Jersey, and also an assistive technology consultant.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say.
I saw you.
First of all, have you
at
managed to catch your breath? You were.
Thank you. Running from the keynote.
I was just going to say you come running in.
Yes.
That's a great question. How was the keynote? Was it great?
Yeah, it's really good. I didn't realize how funny he is. He is just really tremendous sense of humor. You know, it was great. And you know, of course, he gave you some things to think about. In terms of what we're doing and, you know, in education, how we're teaching students. So it's always kind of interesting to reflect on the ideas and kind of link what it's doing, you know, in terms of practices.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you're doing a session here.
Yes.
Assistive tech with Chromebooks?
Yes.
Awesome. Give us a little summary our listeners would like to know.
Yeah, so I do a lot of work with K-12, and a lot of them are moving to the Chromebooks. And so what I put together is a kind of a list of my go-to applications that I use to work with kids with primarily, you know, reading, learning disabilities. So I'm going to do a lot of stuff with text-to-speech and show tools of word prediction, graphic organizers, apps for creating visual supports if teachers are working with kids on the spectrum or maybe where English isn't the primary language, and also tips and strategies. So not just going through the basic, but kind of even people that may be familiar with some of these tools, just to kind of give them some different ways of thinking about using them in the classroom.
That's awesome. We've talked a lot about assistive tech today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we really
have.
have.
It seems to be the topic of the
Really?
day.
Yeah,
so.
It's been
it's only taken me 30 years to figure it out.
Right. Well, you know, like
I'm an overnight success.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And think about it. I say this a lot. Technology has finally caught up with us.
Yes.
What we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting because it's so ubiquitous. But, you know, years ago, you know, when you used to, you know, recommend, you know, a laptop, it was $2,000, you know, and, you know, director of special ed would come back to go, $2,000 for a laptop, you know, and now it's not so much the hardware, it's really the knowledge of the teacher, because the apps are so inexpensive. So we kind of flipped it, but still in all, we need to really work with teachers and, you know, parents, you know, and provide professional development, because things are changing so fast. Right. I mean, you know, years ago, you know, I'm sitting with you guys, you understand, you know, you used to install software off a CD, you know, and then, you know, version 7 would come out, and then two weeks later, 7.5, and the IT people go, there's no way we're going to install this. Now, you know, through the browser, you know, you get a notification. We just added 5 new features. Great. And you don't have to do much of anything.
Hot.
And
it's live. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard to keep up. There's a lot happening. And, you know, if you're not like in the field and focused, there's just so much going on.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the key one of the things that you touched on that I think is key in the presentation you're doing is helping folks see ways that, you know, the devices that we have in our classrooms don't change, generally speaking, as often as the stuff that's running on it. So where you've got, you know, in your session, you're going to show people, you know, hey, you've already got this, you have this stuff. Here are some new ways to look at that, especially in assistive technology. You might not have realized was even there.
But I can't tell you how often I do, you know, I'll do a session and I'll open up Google Docs and I'll show them voice typing, and they'll go like, where was that? Like, how come I never knew? You know, so it's, you know, even things that are built in are being overlooked, because, I mean, I don't know why, you know, Google doesn't put like a big button when you open it up and say, look what's here. You know, this is a really good, they buried it in like menus, and it's like I did something yesterday evening for a group, and I showed it, and like I would say like 90% of the people had no idea that speech recognition is built into Google Docs, and it's like that is like been a lifesaver for kids. Absolutely.
Well, you know, and I think the portability of it. Yeah, I remember putting in Kurzweil units and these massive, you know, and think how much time it took from, especially in an area where you're in a special needs area, where time and, not staying on task with that student causes even more trouble.
I remember one of my friends, Kathy, who's an AT specialist, said, if you can't get it up and running like in 30 seconds, forget about it. I mean, it's either too difficult, or you're going to lose, the kid's attention, and it's not going to be used. And it's really true, and I think with today's technology being, browser based, it's very easy to click on a extension, and then you're up and you're just up and running, which makes a big difference.
And the cloud has made a huge change. We've been talking a lot about portfolios.
Yes.
And, look where we are now. I mean, I remember some early software where we're going to run this on your SQL database at the server level at your school district. And, it's like, the IT guys are going, no, we can't put in another this and this. And now anything you want to share. I mean, a picture, an audio, a video, a drawing, anything. It's boom, put it on Google.
Yeah,
Cloud.
I mean, it's even changed. Teaching undergrad and graduate students, being able to create presentations of Google Slides where I can get teams of students to collaborate has made such. Because I mean, that's the real life. I mean, it's very it's rare that you work by yourself anymore.
Right.
You're working in teams. You're working with other people. And so it's just it gives tremendous opportunities with the whole change in how we're using and looking at how software is being developed and used.
Yeah. Yep. So here at FETC, what are you looking to get out of it? What are you excited about?
I come here to kind of get a sense of like where the technology is moving, some of the trends, just walking the exhibit hall, seeing what the vendors are selling, and kind of get a sense of where it's going, and take a look at how some of the mainstream technology can be applied in with special needs students. So I'm always looking at that kind of stuff. I mean, still a lot of smartboard, a lot of stuff like that. I mean, that hasn't changed much, but I'm kind of getting a sense of what a teacher's thinking about, and what's the next technology they're going to start using.
Yeah, well, I'll throw out one. We had a group on here yesterday. We had a company here. It's 3D Bear, and it's an app.
Yeah.
And it's AR.
Right.
But the kids can put in three-dimensional objects into the AR, and then take pictures and do videos with it. But the kids can create.
Right.
The actual 3D elements
in
AutoCAD or whatever else they want to go, and then import it. I think AR is going to be.
I think AR is probably the virtual reality, virtual tours. I think that's going to be.
I think it's going to be
huge.
Big. Yeah.
It's going to be huge.
And it's fun to see the companies realize, education's the place to do this at. Let's dissect a frog or the human body right there without having to worry about.
No, take a trip to Paris. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, I live in New Jersey, but there's a lot of kids who never been to Philadelphia or New York City, and it's like,
what?
Let's take a tour, and so I mean, from that perspective, I think it's really that's exciting. It's also exciting because of all the agile development to see how quick the pace is with apps that are being built in the browser, which is really exciting too. It really is. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And what's cool about some of that stuff is, or really a lot of that stuff now, but especially as things have evolved, is you could have a classroom of students, and they're all on Chromebooks, let's just say, and you've got some students in the class who they need certain assistive extensions and technologies on their, installed on their browser. You got other students who don't, and the thing is, they can all do it. They're all still going to Philadelphia to go check out, the Liberty Bell or whatever they're doing, and I don't necessarily need to know or even know that Jeff is using a particular assistive technology and I'm not. We're all going there, and we're all either seeing or hearing or whatever it is that I know what's going on, regardless of what technology I might need. Just like my other students, just like my friends.
And you might have the same toolbar, and you might use one tool, and I'm going to use another, but it's on everyone's browser, and it doesn't look different. You know, I mean, you were talking about Kurzweil. I mean, if you had Kurzweil, you knew you had Kurzweil, and no one else had Kurzweil.
That's right.
So here, you're working in the browser, and there's a toolbar comes down, and like I said, you might use the reading tool, you might use the highlighting tool, but everything looks the same. And so that's a big, kind of. I mean, it levels the playing field, but it also, when you're in middle school, you want to be like everyone else.
That's exactly
it's hard. Sometimes I often say I get more excited about the technology than the students. And I'm going, wow, look how far we've come, from what we had. But, but they're resistant because they don't want to be different. And I see it a lot. I do. Yeah.
That is awesome.
So, if folks want to get in touch with you, our listeners, and they go, hey, this is the guy I need to talk to, what's the best way to do that?
They can actually, I do have a blog.
Okay.
It's assistivetech.blogspot.com.
Cool.
I'm also at assistivetech, ASSISTIVETEK, on Twitter. I'm pretty active there, and from there they can connect with me. And hopefully they'll come to the session tomorrow.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah. You've been listening to a recorded conversation from EduTech Guys, live coverage of FETC 2018. For more information about EduTech Guys, visit edutechguys.com. And thanks for listening.